Hi, I'm Professor Richard Reina and I'm the Director of Education in the School of Biological Sciences. And we thought it would be interesting for you to have a bit of a tour through our teaching spaces. So we're up here in the second and third year biology teaching labs. Come with me, we'll just have a little bit of a walk through. This is the space that you would come to do labs in many of our biology units. And we have it set up so that if you look down the lab here, we have benches where you would come in usually once a week to do a 2 to 3 hour prac session. And some of those will be working in small groups, some you'll be doing some work on your own, and some of them will be in larger groups, say a whole bench doing something together. And we've set it up here, as you see, with all the computer gear, which means that at each bench here, for example, we have this camera which would go on top of a microscope, and the image can be displayed on the screen, or we can use the screen to play videos and so on. And using the computer technology, we've got a lot of digital sensors as well that we can connect up to run some live experiments, such as some experiments we do on activity and how that changes your circulation and how that changes the use of oxygen within the body and so on, as well as a lot of other different type lab-based bench type experiments, if you know what I mean. So up at the end here, you've probably never seen an elephant leg before, but this is one of the things that's almost impossible to get now. The universities have for a long time. This is the front leg of an elephant, and we use that and a lot of these other skeletons that are down the sides here to kind of explain and illustrate principles of locomotion in animals and how things like limb length and so on relate to the way in which different animals move. And then we have a lot of different skulls. So for example, we can compare the skull of a puma here and its teeth with, well, here's a warthog, but let's say the skull of a horse and the structure of its teeth and how that's different, or what it tells you about how the horse feeds and what it eats and so on. So coming down the lab, we have these various displays here, and we'll bring them out at different times so that you can learn those things about animals. We have another section of the lab which focuses much more on plants. But by using these materials, it's about illustrating the concepts that we teach in the pracs themselves. One thing I always like to show people is our horse skeleton. Again, it's kind of hard to get these things now, but it's a really useful way to learn. And that's kind of really what we focus on in teaching within biological sciences, is as much as possible we want to use hands-on approaches. As I mentioned, each week you come and spend a few hours here in this lab. Many of our labs will have some assessment attached to them, which might be a prac report in some form, answering questions, and others involve project work that might go over a longer term. Down at our Jock Marshall Reserve, for example, we do a lot of outdoor experiments that might run over a period of several weeks. But we put a lot of focus on practical learning in biological sciences so that we try to give you the skills that are really relevant when you go into the workplace, and really complement what we learn in lectures and tutorials and workshops and so on with what we do in prac sessions. So that gives you a quick overview of the lab.